Hello and welcome into SorareData Office Hours. I'm Andrew Laird, Lairdinho on Sorare, joined as always by Maxime Hagenbourger, Maxime HG. Just feeling that banging intro music. I think I just nailed that one, to be honest. Just nailed it. Anyway, thank you to everyone for joining us. Mark O'Sullivan, first in the stream today. So Mark, well done. Scosmo is here. Richmond, first time, long time. Thank you for chiming in. Danny Brams with the 5th comment, but claims he's first. Yehonatan. Is that how you would say that? You would probably say it differently than I would.
I would say Jonathan or Jonathan. I think it's like
I feel like there's an extra N. Yonatan. Maybe. I think you actually got it right the last time. And Angus just calling me out here as Lairdinho. But thank you everyone for joining us. If you guys could hit the like button on the video, always really helpful. Maxime, I was going to talk about something with NBA first, which I don't know if anybody's here for that, but I'm going to not do that yet because I'm going to pat myself on the back for getting my Lucas Zelarayan rare card to level 20 today. And
wow.
Yeah, that's right. Somebody brought up on Twitter that they feel like Sorare should celebrate that with some sort of like announcement like, hey, congratulations, you have a max level card. And I thought, you're right. There should be something about it. Because to be honest, I had no idea until I went to set my training lineups and I went to put them in and I saw the 10% and I thought, oh, hey, we got there. And then I saw somebody else, I think it was, now I kind of want to find it. Somebody I saw on Twitter got their Lionel Messi rare card to level 20. And they used 2 boosts to do it. And I was wondering if you have used any boosts yet.
No. I think I said it last week. I'm not going to spend any coins until I see the whole top shop. So yeah, no, not spending a single coin on anything. Yeah, I spent 100 coins because I messed up a swap in amateur, but they're the only coins. I was like, okay, 100 coins, that's okay. But I mean, never in my life I would spend like coins on something that I think is way below my expectations, like in terms of rewards from the club shop.
I love that the first coins you used were an amateur swap.
Yeah, I had no defender, or I don't remember. I missed a swap in Premier League, and I was so angry at like spending 100 coins on that. I was like, but hey, I think like you get a chance to like make them back probably if you have like the right score. Did you win something with the swap? I'm not even sure. I don't really look at the coins I make from amateur divisions, but I mean I got something back from it, so it's okay.
Yeah, winning anything in the amateur divisions other than coins is so tough. I feel like you need to somehow score 700 points for a tier 5 limited, and I don't even.
Are they only distributing tier 5s? No, they're distributing like tier 5s to tier 1s, right?
Tier 1 seems a little high. I feel like they would.
Let me check.
I was going to say, I was just about to pull it up and check. I don't do well enough to know. That's how I look at it.
No, so I checked MLS, but our Premier League is right below. So yeah, so second and first get tier 1 limited, then top 8 gets a tier 2, top 75 tier 3, top 165 top 4, and they moved in Premier League is now top 300 that are paid and get a tier 5.
Yeah, I mean, there are just so many more entries. It's crazy. So it claims 63,000 currently, but I assume those are just ones like rolled over from last week, right? Because they do that now.
Yeah.
I will say that's one of those things that probably benefits a lot of people, that they just like resubmit your entries, but
maybe not. No, maybe not. since it's open for like a week, because like divisions that are not opened during the midweek are open for the next occurrence, which is like next like the weekend game week. Sorry, and so yeah, I mean,
but like I played this in the weekend game week last week, and it's already like submitted for me for next weekend.
yeah, but
like I didn't do that myself.
No, but you have still to like confirm it because there's a right, there's a cross
X.
unconfirmed, yeah. So it's submitted.
Do you think 63,000 people have already confirmed?
Yeah, that's my understanding. Yeah,
that's crazy. I played that division last week, I think. Yeah, here we go. 98,000 last week.
Yeah,
all right.
I don't know, really, I don't know. Eden is saying that he got like a top 200 in Serie A amateur. So first, congrats, you're one of the best manager in the chat. Like, there's no discussion about that. And you get to open your reward at 8 p.m. Europe time. So if you're in Italy, I don't know, it's 8 p.m. Europe time. So congrats, and hoping for a great reward. And you'll be able to play it in a semi-pro now if you don't have any limited cards, so that's great. And semi-pro, the competition is a bit more simple.
So I'm glad we are going down this road, because somebody brought this up on Twitter, asking, as I scroll through trying to find it, that here we go. How can Sorare encourage players to move from staying at 10 limited cards when moving to 11 removes them from so many competitions with 0 new benefits? If you aren't going to drop some money, then moving past 10 is a large detriment. How do you feel about that?
I feel I've got nothing to say against that, and it feels like something that is completely valid. So I guess, yeah, probably. I mean, that makes sense that semi-pro are not available for people with more than 10 cards. I mean, let's say maybe that it should be like league specific, right? Like it should be based on the number of limited cards eligible in that division. But yeah, I mean, the comment makes sense, and I don't think like going from 10 to 11 cards justify those changes. But yeah, I got that. Robert says, I got 83rd in the Premier League during the midweek last week. Then you're also one of the best managers in chat. Congrats, you're better than us.
Much better.
Yeah, run the show, Robert. I mean, like, I probably will never get to that position in amateur. Well, mostly because I don't really play it, but like I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm looking at peak scores, and I'm like, okay, who should I get?
I'm trying more than I probably should.
Yeah.
And my results are not as good as how much I'm actually trying. I do remember that this is Yehonan. What? Oh man.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Okay, I'm leaving
Yehonatan?
now. Yeah, thanks. You can come on the show.
Yeah. I think when they first announced the 10 limited, or whatever the scarcity is when you play like Kickoff and stuff, it did always, like, I thought that the original one was like in that competition, so like you would have to have 11 Premier League limited cards and it wasn't. It was just 10 total, and it does feel like that's a little, not detrimental, but it really limits your ability to progress, I feel like.
So can you play semi-pro and pro at the same time?
Sure. So because it only requires 9, right?
Okay, so I mean, probably it should be like, if you play pro, you shouldn't be able to play semi-pro, and that fixes your problem.
You can play semi-pro and pro, right?
Yeah, so but you shouldn't, I think. Like, I mean, in a balanced game, let's say, I don't think that should be possible.
Yeah.
Because right now we're in a situation where I can play amateur and pro, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but I can't play semi-pro, right? And so I always thought that if I win something in those divisions, I would just give away the reward because I feel like I don't deserve it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'm like, I feel like I'm stealing some spots on those competitions. Maybe I should not play those anyway. But yeah, I mean, like amateur, I like playing in amateur because it feels like you're at the same level with every other manager, and so scouting matters, and the decision that you made like the past week also matter. So I mean, I like playing in amateur, but no way I'm keeping the rewards if I win some, and it feels kind of weird to be able to play pro, to be honest.
I play amateur mostly so that I have one of, like, I can use one of those in limited 220, which is probably a competition I shouldn't be playing also. But I'm going to play the cards I have. I don't know. It does feel weird though.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, like in 2 years, probably we will laugh at this discussion, and we will probably be playing a very different game because I feel like the leaderboard stuff is not something that is going to age well anyway. And I mean, you want to be able to like progress in the game and like have like play against people, or at least not necessarily people that have the same gallery as you have, because it's not really something that they can do easily, but at least be on the same, like, on an equal footing, right? Like, I mean, like the fact that I can play the same players on amateur that anyone else, and anyone like makes the decision based on like well, the common rules and common cards, I feel like it's very powerful. And so that's why I think the leaderboard like format is going to be replaced by something else, like in a year or so, in a year or two.
I do like the idea that we're all level, because there really isn't anything else on Sorare that allows us to compete that way. But you say it's very difficult to have similar galleries compete against each other, but I knew of a third-party site that used to run a competition just like that, and so it's not impossible, right?
No, it's definitely not impossible, but I mean, it's very complicated to do that early because you need to have a lot of players to actually do that, like well. And I feel like, yeah, I mean, the only problems with that is how do you get to the best level, and how do you make sure that the people that are paying tons of money to actually get to that level actually do. And so yeah, I feel like the head-to-head format is way more interesting in so many aspects, because when you're playing against the leaderboard, you're checking out every lineup that can beat you if you're in the top ranks, and that's quite a lot. And you're probably, any kind of casual player is probably not going to do that. But if you're playing against someone else, you just have one lineup to look at and try to beat it. And I mean, it creates rivalries and stuff like that, and that's what football is all about. Like, sports is all about rivalries. Like, what about those games when you play the local rival, and those games are the games that you want to play and that you want to win. So, I mean, I can't wait to see that happen.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is a big one that's missing, and it feels like the private leagues were supposed to scratch that itch a little bit, but the issue is that most of them are too big. Like, you're, instead of competing against 10,000 people, you're competing against 800, and still just not, that still doesn't like provide that competitive game that some of us would like. The head-to-head. Yeah, I agree. Maybe they'll come up with something. Skazmo brought up earlier that it didn't make much sense that he could play all the semi-pros while owning more than 10 uniques, while someone with a bunch of limited cards can't because they have too many limited cards, which I don't know how you get around that, but it's true, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm seeing like scarcities being different games, right? Like that's why also Rare Pro is kind of weird in the current format. But like I have a gallery of limited that is pretty bad, to be honest. I have a lot of limiteds, but like I only want like tier 3, tier 4, or tier 2 limited, so it's not good limiteds, to be honest. And I don't have enough goalkeepers, and so I feel like the power of my limited gallery is completely different from the power of my rare gallery and my super rare gallery. And so I don't mind like being able to play those divisions because I don't feel like I'm competitive enough to actually like be in the top ranks. And I feel like entry in a division should be based on the strength of your gallery. And there should be some kind of metric that you could use, like a collection score or some kind of like based on the number of tier zeros that you have in your gallery, the tier 1, tier 2s, etc. You should be able to get like some kind of strength score. And also that could like bring a lot of like strategic choice to actually like you need this score to actually get in that division. Am I buying a new card to actually get in that division but remove the entry in another one? I mean, like you have like a lot of strategic choices that you can introduce. But like, I mean, you should be able to play All-Star Limited, whatever your gallery strength is, but you should be matched up with people from similar strength and not like facing the whole every manager in the Sorare ecosystem. So yeah.
Nep's editor said 450 points were needed for the top 100 in All-Star this past weekend.
Yeah, and also I've seen also like definitely not a good game week for me, but I've seen like All-Star Rare Pro being also very competitive, which is not usually the case. And yeah, I mean, yeah, it's one of those game weeks, right? Those game weeks, right? Like sometimes you just like have a lot of players scoring big. You have a lot of powerful teams that have like very good matchups. I've seen like Milan, especially in defenders, like Bayern, like De Ligt and Pavard scored 100 both. I've seen like Feyenoord winning like 3-0 or something like that at halftime. And you know, I mean, when those game weeks are here, like either you pray and you get like 500 points and you get something big, or either like you just stop watching on Sunday and you're like, okay, let's move to the next one.
The winner of All-Star Rare scored 535 points.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but I always felt that like very good performances should be honored differently than like May performances. And I think that this game lacks a bit of like moonshot rewards, right? Like this guy has 400 in his team, right? I mean, it has to be worth something more than like the first place, because the first place is the same than the last first place, right?
Right.
Last weekend game week first place. And so, I mean, come on, sorry, I'll do something more.
I do feel like there are a lot of people who comment about that like they're concerned about how many points they scored in these big weeks. And like people fully believe that you should get a better reward for this type of score than if you won it last week with 495. And never has it been a part of the game, but we all are like, that deserves more. And yeah, it'd be fun if they actually did.
But you know, like having like a moonshot division where the only way you get paid an absurd amount of money is, or like an absurd amount of cards and powerful cards, right? And like you should score like, I don't know, 535 or 550 or something like that. I would play this division every single game week. Because you're like, okay, maybe I'm not going to get there. But if I get there, I mean.
Right. Well, so it's funny that you bring that up because that's like a mentality from daily fantasy sports that are always like, we just describe them as like top heavy prize pools that like first place just gets this huge prize and people enter because they're like, if this is the week that I have a great score, I want it to be worth so much more than anywhere else I can enter. And we just don't necessarily, well, we don't have that at all in Sorare. Like we know where the better prizes are, but there's no incentive. Like I think everybody builds lineups to score as many points as possible, whereas you really just need to beat everyone else. And I know that it sounds like they're the same thing, but it's a little different. Usually having to finish first in something with thousands of entries, you tend to still build for the highest. But like this lineup for the All-Star Rare, like again, scored 535, but 493 would have won it also. And so I don't know how you build something that encourages you to keep going, but I don't know.
No, but they won with a 45.
Yeah.
No, well, 43 difference
43
points difference, yeah. Right? I mean, that's huge. Probably you should look at that like when you're rewarding people, right? Also, like what's the score difference between the first and the second position in a division where there are like 36, almost 37,000 cards playing. I mean, winning by a 43 points margin is completely crazy. So I mean, I'm not sure it's very easy to do, but I'm pretty sure that like at least the best, like somehow like the best lineup in the game week, whatever the division, whatever like the cards, the scarcity, should get something because they fielded like the best lineup in the game week, right? And you should be able like to reward at least like 10 of those with great cards or like absurd amount of money.
Do you think there should be like something out there that Sorare posts, like if someone ever scores this is the prize? Is that too jackpot like?
Yeah, so there was once five.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up when it was.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, 6 months ago or something, and I don't even know if they got something like, I think they got like some VIP tickets or something like that.
Oh, really? Oh.
Or maybe a jersey. I don't remember. I know that they were going to get something special, but I mean, that's not something we're going to see anytime soon. That's probably something that we're going to like not see again like until next year also. So I mean, it has to be rewarded like badly. And I mean, why not do like a multiple entry division, right?
Weren't you just telling me we shouldn't do multi-entry? Didn't we just have this conversation last week?
Yeah, I know. But you could do a multiple entry division where the only prize pool that you would get is actually like the only lineup that would get something is if they get 500, right?
Okay, that makes sense.
I would build lineup for that division. And you could do it like if you have like limited rare cards, super rare cards, unique cards. I don't care. Like put 5 cards in and get your shot at like something crazy.
Something. Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
I finally found it here. This was the first perfect lineup. Used in Challenger Europe, no less.
Wow, yeah. I
Andy
mean,
thinks
only lineup.
This should get $1 million.
I mean, it's the only lineup they fielded that week. It's a perfect lineup. I mean,
Yep.
you are some. I mean, they only got
I was going to say
0.17 ETH. I mean, that's like how much? Like $300 or something like that.
Let's see,
I mean,
304.
seriously.
This was the prize. Was this?
I mean, Jota is fine, but I mean,
yeah.
Even captain the player with the wow. Yeah, did he play? Does he still play? That's a good question. Like, check out the last game week.
Yeah, they won in 353. That was recent.
Okay,
but still, like I guess they have 9 rares now, so moving up a little bit.
No, I'm like, oh, they're doing the backup goalie technique, right?
Wow, big fan.
Only one.
Yeah, only one.
I mean, they probably have like good knowledge of the guy on the guy.
Maybe it's the actual
this guy is smart. This guy is smart because like a 500 lineup plus doing the backup goalie strategy. I like that. I like that a lot.
Skazmo, this Jota card here was the reward. Let me see here. I can't remember what let's see. So All-Star 5, I mean, obviously 565 is going to win. But oh wait, I wanted to go to rewards. 304. This is something that I do. I go back and nobody ever feels better about this. Of the whole, what would you win if you played in All-Star with a perfect, that's just wild. But yeah, it still hasn't happened again. We got thrown off. Apparently.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, Kimmich was the first place that week in All-Star.
And at that time, it was worth a lot of money, like 1.42.
1.4 ETH, yeah.
I would like spreadsheet says I would like a monthly FIFA. Sorry, spreadsheet FIFA says I would like a monthly or seasonal leaderboard for top scores. Would be a way of rewarding absolutely high scores. Yeah, to me, leaderboards are more a way to reward consistency, obviously, but you can also have leaderboard of like the greatest score, or like the biggest scores scored, right? So I've heard it's Haber said I've heard whoever won All-Star Rare Pro this week is the best Sorare player ever. I mean, I didn't see who, but I got an idea of who that can be. But congrats on the win. But yeah, I mean, like winning All-Star Rare Pro this week is it's pretty strong.
Congrats, Aber.
I mean, that's a great lineup, right?
It is a great lineup.
And I'm seeing Koulibaly super rare in the second place. And I have a theory on Chelsea players and Opta. I think that Opta analysts scoring the Chelsea games definitely have Fofana and Koulibaly cards on Sorare, and that's why their scores are so high.
I've heard multiple Opta Sorare conspiracies today.
Yeah, I mean, no. I watched Dybala's game last week. So he scored 99 after correction, and I was rooting for Dybala, obviously. And so when you're watching your player, you're necessarily saying, no, he won that duel. Why I'm not seeing that duel one, right? And that was crazy because I felt like Opta was watching a completely different game. And they were watching a completely different game, but completely it was completely favorable to me, and I was like, where are they getting all those like positive actions? I'm not seeing the same game as you are. Like, I mean, and there's obviously like the people that are scoring the major leagues are definitely not the same that are scoring like other leagues. Like, I mean, Van Aken has lost like 15 points from, and that's not the first time that has happened. Like, Van Aken has lost like 15 points. Like, he was at 65 post game. Like, I think like the next morning it was like at 50.9, and I was like, okay. So I know that if you remove like dual ones or add like lost duels, or remove like one tackles or interceptions with the double doubles, the triple doubles, etc., it can have like a lot of impact. But I'm like 15 points. What are you guys taking, right? Like, are you even watching the game? Like, or are you like, oh, that should be a one duel, right? Yeah. Okay, let's see. I mean, someone is going to look at the game after me, so I mean, I don't really care.
It does feel a little bit like that. They know that somebody else is going to look, so they're just like, I'm sure it's fine. Yeah.
I hate it. I mean,
Flong said, I think I've never seen a game where Daniel Munoz didn't lose at least 10 points.
Yeah, and especially on defenders, I feel like defenders in the Jupiler Pro League like lose a lot of points. And I don't know if you've seen like Mekele score again like against like Sorare. Yeah, it was this game week. He was at like 75 at halftime, and I was like, and just like Opta delivering every time. And I don't know how much he finished, but felt kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think the frustrating thing about it is how many stats overlap. That like a tackle one is also a dual one, but then if you lose the tackle, then you also lose the dual.
No, but a foul, a yellow card foul is like you get the foul, so that's 1 or 2 points for a defender. You get the yellow card, so that's 3 points. You get the dual loss, so that's 1.5 points. And I'm like, okay, that's a -9 play. And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, the yellow card. The worst is when you have a defender who has like 2 early fouls and you just know the yellow card is coming on the next one. And as soon as it does, but I always feel like there are times where I see one of my players with a yellow card and they have a bad score. And I'm like, the yellow card's not really that many. Like, is it -2 for a yellow card? Like, it's not that many. 3. It's not that many points, but then you have to remember just everything you went through. If it's from a foul, then it's all just. Yeah, Habers, this is it. If you have a yellow card, you need the clean sheet just to cancel it out. It's just not. Ugh.
But to be completely honest, I don't think that the guys working on the scoring matrix at Sorare when they designed it were aware of like the snowball effect, right?
Sure.
Like, I don't feel like they didn't know, I think. So and also what's a duel, right? I mean, a duel is like so many things. And I feel like the scoring matrix is quite good, to be honest, but I feel like the scoring from Opta is so subjective that is like, I mean, that's what's good with baseball and basketball, right? A steal, you know what a steal is, and you know what an interception is. And well, sometimes people don't agree. Like on baseball, on some rare cases, what's an error, what's not an error, okay. But like, it's like very specific edge cases. The problem here with football is that like different stats provider have different definitions on the stats, and the people like imagination of what a duel is not definitely not the same that the definition that Opta has for a duel. And you know, I always wanted to like have a watching guide on the app that would say, oh, what's a dual one? And like, you're watching the game and like a dual one is that. And so you could compare your understanding of the definition and what just happened.
So you know that you're way into Sorare and Opta when I think people, so everybody wants the timestamp for every stat. So like I want to know the duel lost, like whoever my player is had 3 duels lost. I want to go back and see every duel lost to make sure that that's what they look at that was the definition. But so I was watching a baseball game last night. Mets Padres, I forget who was even on base. The player got a single, so that's easy to score. He stole second, that's easy to score. He stole third, but because there was no throw, it was defensive indifference, which is not a stolen base. And I was like, man, that somebody is going to go crazy about this. So anyway, everybody here in chat is definitely more football. They have no idea what I'm talking about. But
no, but I really.
Oh no, this is NBA.
Like,
steal attribution for NBA is different as well. Yeah.
But it's pretty clear to me. Still, if like the player that gets the possession, if like it's tipped from like a teammate, but you get then the ball, so it's the guy that gets the possession that gets the steal, right? It's like the rebound. If I tip the rebound, but it's not me that gets the possession, the rebound goes to like the one getting the possession, right?
Yes. So the other thing is,
to me, it's pretty clear.
Well, so I'm pretty sure this is right. If a player blocks a shot and one of his teammates gets the ball from the blocked shot, it's a block shot for one player and a rebound for another player. But if you block the shot and get the ball, you don't get a rebound.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
if the guy who tips it with control, it's the guy who tips it. So if he like means to tip it, yeah.
No, I mean,
Sean admitting
so
that.
as good says you get both rebound and block.
But
I guess there's a rule book.
Okay, I didn't think you got it.
So I guess there's a rule book that says if this happens, then we score it that way. I mean, I'm pretty sure that it's maybe not everyone understands it, but I mean, there's a rule book, and I feel like two players fighting for the ball, scored by Opta are scored like so differently based on the league, based on like is it live or whatever. And I mean, I hate it.
Yeah, I think it's almost like there were too many. There were people who thought like nothing happens in football. So let's get all these stats to show lots go on. But then it just becomes way too subjective when you have that. Like who decides what a 50-50 ball is? What if it's 55-45? Is that, and who decides what that is? Like,
yeah, and you know they actually removed it from like the stat sheet from Opta. There was a 50-50
oh, did they?
Stat at some point, and when I checked the documentation first time I implemented it, they removed it. They said not going to do that anymore. Yeah, so I mean,
it just does seem weird that there are situations where multiple stats are counted for the same thing, like the tackles and duels, and plus possession lost. Like,
yeah, I mean, possession lost. What's the possession lost and what's the possession won? And also, one thing that is a hard trigger for me is when a goalkeeper. So apparently, the rule for a goalkeeper clearance is if the goalkeeper sends it to a teammate's head, but they don't keep possession, that's a possession loss.
Even though they won the header?
Yeah, but if they don't get the second ball, that's a possession loss.
I always thought that was a possession lost for the player who headed the ball.
I think it's a possession loss for the goalkeeper, and I think that's a missed pass.
The header's a missed pass or the goalkeeper?
No, the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And so a missed pass from a goalkeeper is minus 0.5.
It feels like minus 300 sometimes.
You know, when your goalkeeper has only like, it doesn't make any saves because, they're dominating the game. You're like looking at every passes they make and you're like, no, like 5 good passes, like make up for like one missed. And I'm like, no, not again. So I kind of hate the scoring metrics and for goalkeepers, but also someone has mentioned that, I don't know, in the chat that Opta scores like big chance missed based on the expected goals, and that's not the case. That's someone at Opta saying that's a big chance missed.
I really hate the big chance missed. Like it just seems way too. A big chance missed if a player like gets a great header and the goalie makes this an incredible diving save, and they're big chance missed.
So why we know that is that because there's the VP of Opta, so vice president of Opta, went on a French stream at one point in time. I think that was 6 months ago or something. And he was actually asked that question and he said, no, they're just, but I feel like, I mean, the problem is I'm too biased most of the time. I'm saying, no, that's not a big chance. And obviously I own the player and whatever. And so, but I guess most of the time I agree with the big chance missed, but some are very tough. Some are very, very tough. And I mean, it's just on the discretion of the analyst, right? And that's what drives me crazy. I mean, it's just a guy like eating fries and like, is that a chance to miss? And he's like, he has probably no idea of the consequences of that big chance missed. And he's like, oh yeah, to me, that's a big chance missed.
That's a big, But I agree with this, that headers should rarely be big chances missed.
Yeah.
But I also love the sweat of when you see somebody get a big chance missed, but you have the player who created the chance and you're waiting for the big chance created to come in.
Yeah, that's +5 because that's attempted assist. By the way, I was thinking about this weekend about attempted assist. I think like the fact that Sorare is only giving points for shots on target doesn't make any sense because they're giving points for any attempted assist, right? So an attempted assist is basically you passed, it's the pass before the shot, right? And whatever if the shot is completely missed or on target,
it's fine.
You get the two points for attempted assist, right? And I feel like there should be like at least 1 point for shots for every shot that is made, and shots on target should be like +2, because I feel like some shots are like woodwork, for example, is not taking into account on Sorare, and I feel like it's kind of bad. Like I think like hitting the post is like something pretty good, and I think it lacks recognition on the game right now.
Yeah, a shot off the post not counting for anything has always driven me crazy. Like I understand it's not on target, but it's also not just in row X. And so I feel like we need something. The Haber just had a comment that I completely agree with here, that the goalkeeper should get a big chance saved.
Yeah, definitely. And it should be based, I think the valid goalkeeper scoring matrix would be based on the expected goals saved, right?
Yes. Yeah. It just feels like there should be as we're saying, like one action shouldn't be 5 different things, but if there is a big chance missed. So actually that was more of my opinion, that I think if you have a big chance and it's saved, it shouldn't be a big chance missed. Like a chance missed is when you have the open goal and you send it wide or high. But if the goalie saves it, I think it.
Yeah, I get what you mean, but like basically, if that's a case of like the player having like one-on-one with the goalie, makes the right contest, wins the contest with the goalie, and somehow just misses his shot. It's on target, but the goalie saves it with a very easy save. That should also, to me, be a big chance miss, right? But I think to settle the debate, it should be based on the expected goals, and if it's above a certain level, that should be a big chance miss.
Right. And except you're still relying on Opta's.
Yes, XG. But that's but at least it's, let's say, based on something, not some guy behind his screen and saying oh, this is a chance missed or no. I mean, at least we could get some kind of clarity on that.
I was going to say before, attempted assist is the most ambiguous stat of all, but I'll actually argue this is the easiest one because it's literally just a pass before a shot. Everything else is just
Yeah, but sometimes you don't even know what a shot is. Sometimes is it a cross, or is it a cross shot, or is it a shot? I mean, it's not an easy job to do, to be fairly honest. An Opta analyst, I don't think it's an easy job to do, but I think that the scoring matrix should take into account the fact that it's someone that is doing manual work behind it, and probably temper some of the effects of subjectivity.
Skazbo said, if a reviewer marks it as a big chance miss, they should be tasked with recreating the chance and scoring it. Show us how easy it was, Mr. Opta reviewer. I like this. What do you think about this from Sorare, Josh? If a player wins and scores a penalty, should it get the double decisive?
So, yeah, I mean, they're no one is... I mean, every time I discuss that, people are always definitely for or definitely against it. I mean, there's no one that ever spoke their mind and said oh, I don't mind both. And I mean, I was a very hard defender of yes, you should get both. You should get double decisive because you created the action and you transformed the penalty, which is good. But also, I hear the other argument that is basically saying, well, if you created your own goal based on the fact that you intercepted the ball or whatever, got the rebound or whatever, you're not getting an unassisted goal decisive, right?
Right.
So I mean, to me that it makes sense, but obviously I would like that the players get both. And I don't really like the fact that defenders get a conceded penalty negative action, even if the penalty kick is missed, when the guy that is getting the penalty is not getting the assist if the penalty is missed by his teammate.
Yeah, so that's always driven me crazy. I remember Zora tweeted his response to it, and funny enough, I don't remember what he said, but I remember leaving it being okay, that makes sense. But I agree here, was it Sean, that drawing the penalty shouldn't be a decisive. It should just be a 10-point bonus.
Yeah, probably. That's also or somehow a big chance created, right?
Right.
Because that's what you did. And a big chance created and an
created, big chance created.
And I mean that would make sense that you would get the +5 if the penalty kick is missed, right? The penalty kick is missed, you get +3 for the big chance created and +2 for the attempted assist, and it didn't work, and that's it.
Mike saying, if we can get a decisive for winning a penalty, why not for winning a direct free kick that's scored? Let's go nuts here.
Yeah, probably too far, right? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, but we are discussing this scoring matrix, but at the end of the day, I think that's pretty good. Probably we will have an update on the scoring matrix this summer, since the last update was last summer. I mean, probably probably not, possibly, but I don't know. I mean, I think that summers are the right time to actually change and adjust the scoring matrix. So I'm kind of like hoping for changes during the summer.
I'm not sure what
but
really needs to be changed. Like, I feel like the last one was a pretty big change. I mean, it was. Shout out 88th Trent Alexander-Arnold rare card. But anyway.
No, I mean, what I would change is the goalkeeper matrix, obviously. Like the fact that the accurate long balls are not accurately, like I don't feel like Opta is doing a good job at scoring like passes from goalkeeper, so I would remove that from the goalkeeper matrix. Someone was asking was asking if like midfielders should get a bonus for clean sheets. I mean, yes, obviously yes, because why are they getting like minus points for conceded goals and they don't get points for like clean sheet? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Also, -4 for conceded goals for defenders. You guys completely lost your mind on this one, obviously. I would probably change that a bit. And yeah, I mean, we talked about different things, but and I think there's room for improvement in most of the scoring metrics. But yeah, I mean, looking forward to see if they change anything. So Jared is saying bring on Zero next week and making an answer for this, but you know he's not going to answer anything. So he would probably say we're looking at the scoring metrics daily, and we're going to make changes if that's if we feel we need to make changes. I can do the Zero French accent if you want. I don't know. I think we can make changes if that's needed, but right now I'm not sure. I love Zero. Yeah, if he sees me, hey man.
That was really good, actually. The one that somebody brought up earlier that I think it was Cosmo, actually. I know it was Cosmo because we've talked about this. That forwards getting double points for tackles won, but not getting tackle points for the actual tackles seems weird to me. Like I understand why why they have positional categories, basically, that like defenders get clean sheets and forwards don't. But the one, like, I never really loved having different values just because of the position. A lot of times because we know that there are players like with cards and they play different positions and it's whatever. But to have the double and the triple and the triple include tackles won, and you can get those doubles with a forward, but you will not get any points because of the tackles. That I would like to see fixed.
Also, Laird, what's an interception? I don't even know what an interception is. I still don't know. I mean, I don't even know if Opta is aware of what an interception is, but they're scoring this. I don't know how, but still. But yeah, I mean, you have to understand how they actually did that. They did that based on like data that they got, like historical data,
Sure.
and they tried to fit like a distribution based on those stats. That's the only thing that they did, right? And so that's why, and that's what will drive their decision always. Like they want to have a distribution of scores that like 90 to 100 is very difficult to achieve, and like 0 to 20 also very difficult to achieve. And that's, I don't think that they're looking at it in like with the viewer's eye or the player's eye, but basically the data's eye. Like basically, if it fits a distribution and that makes global sense, they would do it.
Yeah, that's fair. I think one day we're gonna have to get like a permission to just watch a game and we'll just score it and see what happens.
Yeah, No, we definitely need to do that. I think that's something that we definitely need to do. And I think that's not very difficult to actually do. I ask around, but I think that we can do that.
Yeah, I think there are some
I think
things
we can
that
do.
people ask that
Yeah,
we have the answer. Like we know, like if you in order to win a tackle, you have to regain possession, or you have to win possession. And I don't even know if you have to win it yourself, or if one of your teammates can win it. I think you just have, like, your team just has to keep it. But the list of Opta stats is not short. Like there are a ton in the Sorare scoring matrix, and there are so many more that they don't use that, yeah, we'll go through it one day. Oh, I like this idea from Mike Basson. Each Sorare manager gets allocated 1 match per game week to score and watch. There's hundreds for everyone.
No zeros.
Depends
I have
who's in our
sat
teams,
and scored a G League game trying to get Cezinia's AA, and it ended up 0.1 off. Completely different stats to get there, but close enough. I mean, that just means that they're guessing, right?
Yeah, it does seem weird that, because when we were looking for stats, it was like, do we go with Opta? Like, there are other options, but literally using another stat provider means your stats are going to be different, and that's weird.
Yeah, and that's something that people should keep in mind when they're saying, like, Sorare should use another data provider for K-League or whatever. That's not going to happen anytime soon. But I checked out, like, Sportradar's coverage of the K-League, and so they have, like, a post-game coverage, like a 24-hour post-game coverage, but like the stats are absolutely not the same.
Yeah,
It's like impossible to have like a match of the Opta stats and the Sportradar stats. And you have obviously other data providers, but are not doing live scoring. And I don't think that they have like you know a timeline that could fit Sorare's needs.
Yeah, I also want to emphasize what Sean says here, that as much as we complain about the scoring matrix, it's the best one out there. Like, we've played plenty of other fantasy football games, and most of them are just awful.
Probably in the US. But like the MPG game, so that's the other fantasy football game in France, has a pretty solid scoring matrix, and I think that Sorare has looked at the scoring matrix before doing that. But the problem with this one is that you have like a scoring, like the notes are from 0 to 10, and you start at 5 or something like that, and that's probably too high, and so the distribution of notes is not wide enough.
Do they use Opta as well?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that Sean came second in All-Star Unique this weekend, and we should campaign for Sorare to give him second place rewards. Hope you get Rames to
play nice, guys. Yeah, I think the other thing that people need to recognize is that with Sorare uses tackles 1, and a lot of stat providers like SofaScore and FOTMob, they show total tackles. So we get all these people who are like, your stats are wrong. This guy had 12 tackles and you're only showing 2. And just know that tackles 1 are different than just total tackles. I don't even know what a total tackle, like what they count. If it's an unsuccessful tackle, why you would ever need to count that. But
yeah, Mark has asked if we're tempted to provide stat coverage in the future. Absolutely not. I mean, like stat providers are probably have the worst business case in the entire universe, and I really admire the fact that they're still there. But like, I think AI at some point in time, and like having enough cameras would do the work on itself on its own, basically. So I don't think that's a business that is worth like exploration right now. And so yeah, Brad Guzan, everyone in the chat says Brad Guzan's need knee replacement surgery, and I mean, Andrew, how do you feel about that?
It's not that bad. He's out 10 to 12 weeks. He has I don't remember what it was, MCL. Haber's getting me all fired up today because of it. But as somebody with a super rare Brad Guzan, I do not feel good today. I negotiated with terrorists long ago, and the terrorists are winning.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I looked at Brad Guzan super rare because I was like, I love watching like the Atlanta games. They're kind of fun to watch, and I'm glad I didn't buy that car.
Well, if you want one now for probably a tenth of the price that you were looking the other day, they are available. Oh.
Do you think the G League will be back for 2023? I don't know. Who knows? I mean, what they said.
That we don't know.
I mean, what they said is that in the previous interviews is that they're pretty like confident. I mean, they're like actively pursuing the deal. So I mean, that wouldn't surprise me if they close out the deal before the end of the season, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't.
Glad we figured
That's a 50-50, Andrew. That's a 50-50.
The old 50-50 ball on the J League license this year. No wonder Opta got rid of it. Okay. That was a lot of Opta. I was not expecting to go down that road today.
But that's fun. That's always fun to speak about the core of the game. And I mean, like, when I'm watching games, I'm an Opta analyst, and I'm like trying to score the game. I'm like, no, I disagree.
I think there are a lot of misconceptions on what happens. My favorite is that how many people think that there's somebody physically at every stadium somehow scoring it just with their naked eye and just figuring that all out. Because when they talk about like adding leagues, and they're like, oh, Opta's not going to send somebody to the stadium in every whatever small country they want. It's like, this is not how this works. All teams.
Yeah,
they're probably all in England, actually.
Yeah, K-League stats are scored from somewhere else than Korea. Yeah, trust me on that. And probably J-League games also definitely not scored from Japan. And probably Jupiler Pro League games definitely not scored from Belgium. And I mean, I guess that they are scored from like a single place or maybe like several places in the world. And they probably like start the newcomers on like Jupiler Pro League games, you know, Eredivisie, Elitserien, all those champion leagues that like are like tier 2, tier 3 leagues that are well covered by Opta, but that are not very important in terms of like coverage for Opta, obviously, but are so important for Sorare players.
Metal Gear is saying somebody in the Sorare General Discord once said that they worked for Opta and there was somebody in the stadium. I would assume that's for like their goals and assists and cards one, but there's no way that that person is calculating every interception, possession loss, duel one, tackle one.
Yeah, and I think that they probably need a guy, because you know there's a French influencer that is in the crypto space that's one of these business case before going to crypto. It was like back in the days, he was sending people to football games and they were like on the phone with him and they were telling him there's a goal being scored by this team, just bet on that team right now. And so he was live betting on games. He knew the goal was scored already, so he could like just bet on it. And he won money on that. Obviously, got sued, banned from the gambling websites. But I think that for that reason, like most probably Opta has people like just pushing a button saying, because they also provide stats for gambling sites, and those gambling sites have to like get the info that a goal has been scored like pretty quick, because they don't want to validate bets that like front run them. So yeah, I think those guys actually exist.
There you go. Everybody chiming in. Courtsiding is what it's called. I guess.
And Mike says tennis was great for that, and you're actually. I went to Roland Garros, so last time was the only time I probably would go there. But at the beginning of the game, they say you're not allowed to bet in the stadium, and I'm like, and who's going to enforce that? And yeah, you can bet on. Yeah, I did not bet because I try to respect the rules, but I went on a betting website, and indeed you can have like a 10-second like heads up on what's going to happen.
Yeah. Sam saying he went to a game and sat next to some Opta people at a Leicester box, so that they had a bird's eye view of the game via cameras in the stadium. I think this is the important thing, that this is why television coverage matters for Opta scoring. It's not the people in the stadium. They need to have enough camera angles, to determine if a ball was actually passed from into the opponent's third and all that good stuff. And so,
about that, I mean, I'm pretty sure do you know what's the attacking third? Where does it stop? I need to have that information. I know I need to have that information, but I'm like, the defenders, like, obviously my favorite Opta stat is a pass to the opposite side, and I love watching. I could watch only games of my defenders. Like, I'm like, at the stadium when I go with Sorare team at stadiums, I'm like, yeah, plus 0.5, and they're like, oh, what did we do, right? Like, it changes the way you look at football games, and that's amazing. It
is weird that they have this rule, like they have this stat where it's completely unmarked on the pitch. Like, we have no idea.
Yeah. So I mean,
here it is. Put the line on the screen like American football.
Yeah, but it's well, nobody cares about the line or whatever. But it's probably very subjective. And I think, like, my understanding is that they track the ball on the stadium, or like on the pitch, with their mouth. So you have two guys watching. You have two analysts watching the game, and a third one like supervising. And so each one is like focusing on one team, and apparently they track the ball with the mouse, and they track stats with the keyboard. That's why I understood. Maybe it changed. Maybe it's not that, but that's the good story that Opta is telling clients, right? And so I think that the passes are tracked this way, and so they track by computer if it's in the attacking third or not.
I think we'll know that Sorare have become the entertainment conglomerate that we all think it is, or that they all want it to be, when those two lines are added to the pitch.
Let me see it. And pitches will like all change because of the Sorare rule, right?
Yeah.
And like players will be booed if like they touch the ball
before it goes over,
line, right?
Yeah.
Because,
and then when you watch on TV, when the ball crosses the final third, there'll be like a fire emoji or something that we all know that's a pass into the final third.
GD says, anyone know how long a long pass into a position needs to be? No, it has to be like 1 centimeter. I mean, if the ball changes, like the long, it doesn't mean anything.
think we've lost it. This was a lot of fun. Thank you to everybody for joining us live. If you have any other Opta stats you want us to follow, feel free to hit at least me up on Twitter. Maxime isn't there, so it'll just be left to the ether. But yeah, thank you to everyone for joining us. The chat was very, very fun today. So thank you guys for participating there. If you could please hit the like button on the video, always appreciate it. I saw a comment very, very early on about how much they liked this new day and time, and I don't know if you can get used to it. So we'll see.
No, I can.
We'll see.
I think like people don't like the 8 p.m. Europe time because UCL, right? And also like people have families, and I don't, but like people have families.
People have families in Europe
at dinner and stuff like that. And I mean, I get that they prefer to watch the show during work because, like, obviously the chat is at work right now.
Sure.
But no, I like the 5 p.m. hour.
All right, that's fair enough. That's right, Haber. How dare they have families when we have SorareData content to consume? So yeah, thank you to everyone. We'll be back next week. I will be back Friday. I'm off tomorrow and I'm off Thursday. Sorry.
Wonder if you're going to get paid for those days.
Let's see if I'm back Friday, actually, now that I'm taking 2 days off. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week.